and stuff. And let's face it, the stereotype for gamers, whether you hate me for calling y'all nerds or what, I honestly don't give a shit. But if the stereotype for gamers is that you're big and fat, eating a bowl of Cheetos, sitting in your mom's basement, living off her, spending every dime you get from the convenience store that you work at on video games and equipment that is never gonna get you anywhere.
Well, hello there, motherfuckers. I'm here with a request video for November. One of my great patrons on Patreon. So he requested that I talk about a video from Solidrev, who I'm not very familiar with this guy, but I'm a fan of Review Tech USA, which is run by Rich here on YouTube, and he did a response video to Solidrev. Now, Solidrev isn't really a huge YouTuber. I believe he has like 62,000 subs, which is way better than me, but you know, it's an interesting video, and it was a polarizing video, and it was meant to be polarizing on purpose. So what was the topic here? It was to basically paint this picture in his you know, from his sister. He lets his sister do a lot of the talking. He kind of does a bit of an interview style, and lets his sister talk about why she doesn't find gamers attractive. And of course, this sets some people off. I think for the most part, some of the attitudes were pretty good in the comments, from at least what I saw, some of the latest comments that were immediately visible to me. And, you know, people just basically said, you know, they kind of don't really, like, even understand, like, why this opinion is even being said. And I understand what Solidrev is trying to do here. He kind of, you know, wants to stir the shit up a little bit, stir the pot, get people talking. And that's good. That's good to have a conversation, to have a dialogue with your audience. I can appreciate that. I like that here on this channel as well, as you know. But, the only thing here is it's like it doesn't really even serve a purpose. He has his sister come on there. First of all, like, she's just mildly decent looking. You know, just, and personality-wise, she offers nothing. Quite frankly, I was like falling asleep at the 10-minute mark in the video, hearing her like give the reasons. You know, she painted the age-old picture of the gamer, you know, eating Cheetos in their mama's basement and all this shit, and like, you know, not having a job. Now, I'll give credit to Solidrev for kind of bringing her back in, kind of reining her back in, and trying to, you know, put a bit more perspective on this very like narrow-minded view on gamers. You know, he said, well, you know, some people are fathers, some people have jobs, and I believe that she even brought into the conversation about, you know, if they do work, they'll work at a convenience store, saying like they have like a medial job. And to that, you know, Solidrev actually fired back at his own sister, saying, well, it's still a job. He said they're still going there like all day. You know, she wanted to paint this picture like a gamer doesn't live a very fulfilling life. And so, you know, this kind of sparked a lot of, you know, people weren't happy what they heard, you know, sparking a lot of like offense to it. And rightfully so. Now, is this stereotype very much a thing? Oh, yes, it is. Just very much like how like Rich from Review Tech stated. It definitely is a stereotype. It's definitely, you know, a stereotype that holds a lot of water for a lot of people. But then again, you have to kind of bring it back into perspective once again, kind of like what Solidrev did, and say, well, you know, a lot of these gamers, they have jobs and everything. If you let it take over your life and interfere with your life and let it run your life, then that is the case. But, you know, pretty much I have to say here is like, what is the point on even ranting on those people? You know, the way I've seen it, okay, yeah, the spark a reaction and everything like that, but let these people, you know, live their lives, you know. So apparently I didn't see this video she had like a small little commentary. She said a little bit of a tidbit in one of his other videos, whatever it happened to be, whether it was a rant, a stream. I don't really know, quite frankly, what it is. He has a gaming channel, so I would assume that, you know, it's gaming related, the video that they're referring to. But she made a comment about how gaming was for nerds and all this, and you know, he wanted to follow up on it. I guess that there was probably some negative comments, and he just wanted to have his sister explain herself to his YouTube audience. And okay, you know, that's a good idea, but it's also like a bad idea, because I will say this, I can't say that, you know, she sounded like stupid in this video. I'm not gonna say that. That would be very easy for me to come on here and say, oh, she sounds like a dumb idiot, you know, call her a B, and all the other words. And I'm kind of happy I didn't see that in the comments. There's no need to grow outrage. She's entitled to her opinion. Some of the opinion was true, but it seems like she's hating on the group, and she talked about how, you know, she has a friend that's married, and, you know, and he games, but he doesn't let it interfere. And then she talks about other people who she knows, a person who she dated. And I've always heard this in real life experience, you know, like when a lot of times when people give examples of things, they name like one specific example, but then fail to realize that there's like millions of people in the world, especially, you know, hundreds of millions of people that have this hobby of gaming. So when you're like saying this one person that you know, you know, it's like the old thing, oh, you know, like I have a black friend type of argument. You know, it's like when you bring that up, it just kind of makes you sound bad, is all that it is. It's like because you only have like that one example that you can provide, and she had about 2 or 3. But it's all based on the personality. Who does she associate herself with? You know, from what I see, you know, this girl doesn't really have a lot of personality. She didn't talk about a husband or anything like that. And it seems to me she complained about how this guy, you know, that she dated gamed and everything like that. And she, you know, thing was, it was a hobby. Instead of trying to familiarize herself with the hobbies, she didn't even talk about like anything. She just didn't like his interest, and so she dismissed him. So, you know, I would think that if she dated him, they probably had something in common. And so, you know, here she is in the video with her brother, you know, Solidrev. And here she is complaining about her experience. And quite frankly, to me, it's like it doesn't really hold a lot of water, this argument.
Yeah. So aptly pointed out earlier, it could also, like people that are in relationships with gamers and stuff like that, they may not like it. Women may not like it because it does, in fact, take attention away from us. And I have been married to a guy that used to play video games for, I want to say, from the time he got off work until the time he went to bed. And I hated it. And I judged him badly, severely.
You're talking about one person and you're bad-mouthing him, all because he had a hobby that you didn't really care for. I've seen this so many times. It's like you look at her, and I'm not just saying that. I'm not trying to dismiss her. Oh, you know, she's not attractive, so she can't have an opinion. It's just I've just happened to notice that a lot of time is that like people that have very high standards, it's like you look at her, she's not an 8. She's not a 9, she's not a 10, she's not even a 7, and I don't mean to really go that low as some people would probably analyze this as like what I'm doing. It's just funny. It's that obviously what you see, she doesn't have a spouse or anything like that. Probably a lonely girl, probably in an apartment full of cats, you know. I'm just saying, it's like here she is kind of bitter and angry at the world, you know, because she hasn't found a lot of happiness from what I'm getting from this video. And so she sees video games as almost a trigger, like she's getting triggered by the video games, and she's angered that the guy probably found the video games more interesting than her. So you would think that, okay, so maybe the guy was obsessive. But maybe, I've noticed this a lot of times, that a lot of people don't like to look at themselves in the situation. They don't want to see like, oh, well, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm not that interesting. Maybe my personality is unappealing. Maybe, that's why, he'd rather look at the games than me. I mean, it doesn't seem like whatever, like it was, too successful. But, that's what I see. Like, a lot of times when something doesn't work out, we search for someone to blame, someone to point the finger at. And that's what I'm getting here from Solidrev's sister.
Is that because you had nothing else to do other than clean?
Yeah, I don't.
And
it's like at the
hobby?
time I didn't have any hobbies. He had the hobbies, so basically my hobby became cleaning up after.
So you were jealous, basically, that he had something to do
I don't know.
that entertained his time.
You know what? I don't know. Maybe it was jealousy. Almost like I'm being replaced for a video game. You can't spend time with me, but you can spend all this time on the video game. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people. I demand attention. I demand time. I like to go out. I like to hang out.
But I think you're full of
But
shit.
if
I'm seeing like she's kind of using this guy that she dated like as a scapegoat. And she gives other examples. She talks about her friend, who has kids and he works an odd shift and he plays games at night, and so it doesn't like interfere with his family time and everything like that. And it's like just all these examples, and it's just like, what's the point? What is the point that you're trying to make? Okay, so you don't like gaming, you associate it with being for children, but then you say it's okay because as long as he plays the games at night and it doesn't interfere. It's like, what are you even trying to say? Get your own life together, girl. Like, honestly, you're just kind of grasping at straws as an argument. Maybe you begged Solidrev to put you in the video there so you could have your almost literal 15 minutes of fame. So you could have your voice, but your voice is not that great. It's just you have no personality. So you know what I'm saying? Subpar looks, zero personality. And I've noticed this on a number of occasions. Those are the ones who have the highest standards. So I'm saying, like, how much do you want to bet that the guy that she dated was probably one of the nicest guys in the world? He probably maybe spent a fortune on her for dinner or whatever it might have been. But because he played the video games and she had a problem with that, it was no good. Just had to get rid of that relationship just because he wasn't the guy she wanted him to be. It's like, I'm sorry to say, but I've even noticed in my own experiences, you're never gonna find somebody exactly to the template that you're looking for. And I've heard this from a lot of friends. Many have complained to me, and this type of shit doesn't really bother me that much. It's like, because I've come to terms with it. It's just like, this is how people are gonna be. You gotta understand that people are fucked up, and that you're just not going to have the experiences in life sometimes that you think and you dream and you hope that you're gonna have, because a lot of times you could sit around your whole life and they won't happen. That's kind of what Solidrev's sister's going around. She's here, she's insulting a lot of people, she's on her high horse, because she's got her youth and everything now. So what I'm saying, she's not a horrible, atrocious looking girl, but she's definitely there is a type here. You want to talk about stereotypes for gamers? This is a stereotype for a lonely girl. She just doesn't seem like she has a lot going for her. Like, first of all, okay, you talk about a guy and obviously she's looking for somebody with a firm job that's, in her opinion, maturity, that's like not that into gaming. And if they are going to game, it has to absolutely not coincide with any of the time that, she is like aware of it, like awake. It's okay what she said based on like one of her friends that's married, like if he does it at night while everybody else is asleep due to the, the odd work schedule. But other than that, she don't want any gaming at all. It's nerdy, it's bad, it's childish, bad, horrible, don't want to see it, don't want to have any of it. And right there, it's like you're being demanding, you know, you're being very dismissive of people, you're not being very understanding, you're being very closed-minded, you're closing yourself off to a portion of the world, because there's a lot of people who play video games, there's a lot of people that like video games, there's a lot of people that consider it a hobby. And by having that outlook on the world, it's also for even people that may not be into video games. They see this video on YouTube and, you know, they hear her talking. It's just like, it sounds mean, you know, it makes her sound bitchy. It makes her sound bitter. It makes her sound just undesirable. Like, you know, like, of course, like a woman would want to come off as appealing, attractive, and sexy, but like, she, you know, her sitting there like saying this, there's nothing like, no one is gonna get turned on by this and say, oh wow, what a woman, listen to her bash those gamers. It's you're just not gonna have that type of reaction when you're listening to her here. So like, I don't really know, you know, okay, Solidrev, I understand that, you know, you might have put this presentation together here, this little sort of interview with your sister because you wanted to get a discussion going. And understand, you know, like I said, even if it's polarizing, any type of reaction, any type of audience is a positive factor here on YouTube and just about any other medium. You know, whether it be a podcast, a TV show, a movie, what have you. Any type of attention on it can be positive in some respect. The more eyes that are on it, the better. It's just that, you know, your sister's out there, and she did not look good in this one. She just kind of, you know, she tried to piece together an argument, and I will say that she didn't sound completely idiotic, but she sounded not stupid, but ignorant. There is a difference, and it just, you know, it didn't do it for me. I didn't really like what she had to say. I do say that there are stereotypes there, and I've said that, you know, there's stereotypes for a reason, because those people exist. But you know, you're gonna group all gamers together. She kind of like went beyond the stereotype. She also, you know, there's stereotyping and then there's generalization, and that's what she went for, generalizing gamers, putting them all into a group with only small exceptions where it's okay. So, you know, other than maybe Solidrev, you know, kind of, you know, prepped her to say this to kind of get the necessary action, but it kind of seems like it was probably her opinion, because she could have went more full force. She could have went into full bitch mode and everything. But, you know, all I could say really is, you know, enjoy your apartment full of cats. Make sure you keep a large stock of catnip and tuna for the future. You know, make sure you have plenty of cans of Starkist there, and you know, Friskies and Whiskers and whatever, you know, cats like nowadays. You know, just make sure you get plenty of scratching posts so they don't ruin your furniture, because, you know, when you're up to your 50th cat, things could get a little hairy. That's all I'm saying, folks. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. November, I hope, you know, I did your request justice here. And thank you for your support on Patreon, and thanks to all my supporters on Patreon. And if you enjoyed what you saw here, why not subscribe? Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. Check out some of the other content I have posted here. And thank you for watching, guys. Until next time.